So that wasn't as terrible as I thought it might be. Becoming radioactive and all. Can you tell? I don't know. I can't really tell a difference, maybe. Anyway, so when you get a CT scan, like when they stick that stuff in your arm, like there's immediate like rush of like all kinds of feeling inside your body, and you get this metallic taste right after a saline taste from the saline flush in your IV, and then just this heat that like emanates through your entire body, and then it feels like you pee your pants, like a rush of pee, like really. The first time I really thought that I'd lost it, but that's a universal sign for a CT scan. Anyway, but today it was totally different. It was I went in this quiet room and they placed my IV, and she did a really good job because I have an arm that you can't get an IV on, and so it's a little bruised. And then I have a vein that's been well used in the other arm, and she was able to get it in first try. And then they take this refrigerated syringe, and it's like pink, and they do it at the same time as they put in the saline, and you don't feel anything, but you have to stay perfectly still for an hour in this reclining chair. And they put on music. I just off the cuff, when she was like, "Oh, what kind of music is relaxing?" I was like, "Oh, Enya, I don't know." So she puts on Enya, and like 2 songs in, all of a sudden this like cowboy lost my wife and kids and I'm drunk again like station comes on. And she's like, "Did you do this?" When she came in, I was like, "No, I didn't touch it." She goes, "I think this used to be a gypsy fairground before it was a hospital." I don't know. Anyway, so kind of funny. But I was tired enough that I just kind of did doze in and out. And then for 35 minutes, you go into the tube, the ominous tube. And you, at first it's pretty fast. Like they told me after my lymph node surgery that I couldn't go to Lagoon. So I was as disappointed as the kids. But man, I got to go through this tube like for 35 minutes. Like what could be better than that? Well, I could think a lot of things, but so the first time you kind of like jolts you through, and that's like a quick CT scan they take. And then for the next 33 minutes probably, like you have to lay perfectly still. They strap this big old lead apron over to keep you, so your hands are pinned to your sides, so you're like in a straight jacket on this skinny cold table. And they were nice. They gave me like 3 warm blankets. I'm sure they give that to everyone, but I was appreciative of it. And then you lay in this little pillow thingy that's not super comfortable, but it keeps everything stationary so you won't move. And then it just would like barely move, and then it would just go around in circles, and then you would barely move again, and then around in circles. And actually I fell asleep. Like I even like caught myself snoring, and then I was like, "Oh, I can't move. Oh, I can't move." But it went really well, and so we'll see. And then I got a call from the Mayo Clinic. And I just love the Mayo Clinic because they don't leave you guessing. You don't have to keep waiting. They just keep checking on you and like making sure. And so yesterday when I asked them if if I should maybe not do the therapy here, or if they wanted to, and I was nervous because I thought if I start it here, they're gonna make me do a few rounds, and I'm not sure if they totally understand my full picture here locally. And he called today, and his nurse did, and he said no, he wants to see you, and he says it's fine. You get the port placed, do your first treatment, and we have an appointment for you on the 29th. And I've already got like my appointments all set up, and so I just have to find tickets to go out there. But now that means that the Mayo Clinic has a vested interest in me, and so everything has to be run by them, and they kind of dictate what therapy I have out here. And I love that because I have a history at Mayo Clinic. They saved my life, and I trust them. And I'm kind of excited to know that I have somebody else in my back pocket. And I know that's because of all the prayers. Like I can feel them. I just had a friend who texted me, and she goes, hey, I was at the temple and I put your name on the prayer roll. And she goes, and I saw your name, that it was already written there. And this is the second time this has happened to me, because when I had my first round of surgeries, sorry, today's like an emotional day. When I had my first round of surgeries, I was really sick, and I kept ending up in the OR with some sort of emergency, and to fix the opening for my colostomy bag, and then later because I had nephritis and my kidney was backing up, and there were all kinds of problems. And when I felt well enough to go downstairs, my mom had put me in the wheelchair, and we rolled down to the chapel, and it was like, you know, any chapel that's in a hospital. And I looked at the book outside the door, and 3 times my name had been written just by complete strangers, people that were like, pray for this young mom, pray for Holly Poole, like. And when we walked into that room, there was like a veil of the spirit, like it was just like hit. You could just feel like it was palpable, the spirit in that hospital chapel. And so it just reminded me of that moment, because I was like, this keeps happening to me. I don't know why. I don't know why. But anyway, that's long enough.